What's up, guys? We are out here in Austin, Texas with Joe from Joe's Organics on his market garden and composting initiative. Joe does food waste pickup here in Austin, Texas, and then takes that and you sell the compost, correct?
We use all we can and we sell the rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing this for?
I've been hauling compost for 5 years and I've been full-time farming for 2.
And how much food waste do you pick up on a regular basis?
So it's about 3 to 4 trailer loads a week.
And then how much is that? What's a trailer?
About 3 tons total a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So
it adds up
6,000
real quick.
pounds, 6,000 pounds of food waste.
Yeah, per
Yeah.
week though.
Now, what are you taking as far as food waste goes?
So we take vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, tea bags, paper waste, and we try to avoid meat and dairy.
Okay. Now, are you working with any of the like compostable, like silverware, like no?
Well, I mean, it ends up in the piles, of course, and since I run a business, charging these people to pick up their food waste, I don't want to complain to them a whole lot, but we do try to avoid it. It ends up in the piles and it doesn't really compost so well. And so what we end up with is some old should have composted forks out in our garden, basically.
Gotcha. Okay, and then you also grow food, obviously.
Yeah.
Here, we're sitting at the edge of what you call it your market garden here.
The market garden, yeah.
So now it's July here in Texas. It's pretty hot. What are you growing right now?
We're growing Malabar spinach, probably one of the only fresh greens that you can get in the summer when it's about 100 degrees. It grows like a vine. And we come through and just chop it off with knives.
And so this stuff almost tastes kind of like a succulent. It's almost got like a...
It does kind of taste like you're chewing on a soft cactus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got, and one thing that I've noticed is a lot of the stuff that does well in this time of year is actually kind of like a succulent.
Yeah.
You know, like the Egyptian spinach or amaranth. It's just got this kind of consistency to it. And my thinking is it holds water better. To kind of have,
Definitely.
It's almost got like a slimy taste to it. What else you got going on here?
So let's see. Got an older vine here, a couple older vines of lemon cucumbers, not really producing too much. Pretty much done. We're gonna mow those down.
I love the lemon cucumber.
Yeah, they're slightly controversial, but when
Now, why is that?
just on our farm, just whether we should spend time growing them. People are hit or miss on buying them.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a guaranteed sell.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. I feel like they're a little juicier.
They're a little juicier.
Yeah.
Ours we have a lot of stink bugs out here.
Okay.
And they tend to get the lemon cukes pretty bad.
Now, do you spray anything?
We spray fish emulsion and seaweed.
What about like a pesticide at all?
Some neem oils.
Okay.
And we don't really use any chemicals on the farm.
That's awesome. That's what I like to hear personally. So, all right, let's keep on walking here. What else we got going on? Should we maybe,
Sure.
Oh, looks like we got some squash over here.
We got some squash up here. Let's see, down here we have a kind of a round squash variety. I'm not even sure what it's called.
Okay. This guy right here.
That one there.
And how big do these get?
Those get up to about baseball to softball size.
So that one's almost ready to harvest.
Uh-huh.
And then it looks like we got some beneficial insects there. It looks like an assassin bug.
Yeah, we got some assassin bugs. And then this year we're growing these trombocino vines that are just kind of crazy.
Oh, wow.
They've really taken over. And these get ridiculous. And they end up making these kind of swan neck looking squash.
Right on. And those are edible?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like a summer squash, yeah.
Yeah, it's a summer squash. This is new for us to grow out here. As you can see, it's really kind of taken over. In fact, it's trying to kill a lot of other stuff. It's pretty invasive. I have a feeling these vines will get up to 15, 20 feet long, I bet.
Oh, wow. Now, what are some of your weeds? You look like you got the same kind of weeds as me.
Yeah, we got a lot of the Bermuda grass,
Okay.
the Johnson grass, the amaranth. It's interesting since we grow amaranth as a microgreen in real specialized conditions.
And now you got the pigweed.
And then we have the pigweed all through here that we go through and have to weed out.
Yeah. Yeah, we get the same thing. And then it looks like we got some melons, a lot of okra.
Melons, we have a row of okra. I went real big with the okra last year and ended up with a whole lot of okra that I didn't necessarily need.
Yeah.
It just gets to be a daily chore, but
And if you don't pick it every day,
it's worth, yeah. But hey, it's the corn plant of Texas. That's what I say.
Right? And then do you like to, how do you cook okra yourself?
Well, we're fixing to throw a little in a foil pack with some olive oil and slap her on a grill there.
Really?
Yep.
That sounds pretty good. Are we eating that tonight?
That's gonna be tonight.
Nice. I'm all about it. Right on. Well, let's kind of walk around here a little bit and take a little bit more of a look at your farm. All right, guys. So we are out here in the microgreen, it's like a hoop house here, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, and you got a nice little shade cloth here. Is that like a 50%?
Yeah, oh, no, it's 50% covered by a 30% with the extra reflective.
The illuminate?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Okay.
We're really going all in with the shade cloth. And
pretty cool in here.
it's cooler. It's still hard to fight a 100-degree day.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think we would need some sort of a cooling system, evaporative cooler on a major scale.
Okay, now tell me, this is probably one of more of your cash crops that you're dealing with, right?
Exactly, the microgreens are the cash crop.
And microgreens, how would you describe a microgreen to somebody?
So it's a little teenage plant.
A little teenage plant.
Yeah, it's
it's just getting a little fur on the top there.
Just getting a little fur on the top. It's just a little more than a baby plant. It's getting right at the age where it wants a lot more space, and it's starting to get a little angry and get a little flavor to it.
Oh, that's true, right? They are getting a little angry. And can you go over some of the stuff you're growing here?
Sure, yeah. We have some of our mild mix, which is a mix of like cabbage and kale. As you can see, it's struggling in the heat. We grow pea shoots. We have the chives here that are doing really well. Little basically baby onion plants. Our red amaranth is real popular with our chefs.
And that looks real good right now.
Yeah, it also handles the heat pretty well.
Is that a basil over there?
We have green basil and opal basil also. When the times are right, when it's more like fall or basically the other 9 months out of the year, we have 15 varieties to 20 that we have regularly available on call for chefs.
Basils? 15 varieties of basils?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn.
No.
I'll start calling you Joe's Basil
Joe's
Farm.
Basil Farm. Maybe someday.
But 15 varieties of different
micros.
Now, how do you harvest these guys?
We actually sell them still alive.
Okay, cool.
So we sell them by this living strip to chefs.
Beautiful. And they're probably pretty happy about that.
The chefs love it, yeah.
Right.
They basically put it right next to their plating station and tend to just snip them right before they serve them to customers.
And so you're probably pretty popular in the restaurant scene here.
Yes, we're quite popular.
Yeah, you like to go out and like do a nice dinner at some of these places. They take care of you sometimes.
They do. It's true.
Yeah, isn't that nice? I feel that. Thank you, chefs.
Thank you, chefs.
Take care of us farmers. We love it.
Well, I call it market research.
Exactly,
it's
right?
important for the business.
No, absolutely. So keep on feeding us. Well, right on. Anything else you want to talk about in the microgreens here? What's your setup as far as how you're growing these? Looks like you have like a flood table system.
Sure. Yeah, we buy used flood tables, and they're on. We have water pumps going down to our reservoirs, and those are on timers. And we adjust the frequency and the time of the watering each day depending on the season. And it basically it just waters for 15 minutes. It'll fill up with water to just the right amount and then drain back into the tubs.
And now you've got some kind of nutrient in there. What are you growing these microgreens with?
There's actually essentially the reservoir becomes compost tea.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
Since we plant everything in the compost we produce.
Oh, so basically the
comes
water
in
just
and soaks.
recirculates.
Exactly.
And it's kind of like it's making a compost tea.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And it stays aerobic, which you need because you're circulating.
Circulating it a couple times a day.
That's amazing. That's kick-ass. I love easy things that make sense. That's the best.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh, is that going on? Oh, we got a doggy. A wet doggy.
Maybe a little dog in the reservoir sometimes.
Hey, well, right on. Anything else in here that you want to talk about?
Just microgreens are a great way for anybody to kind of get their foot in the agricultural door. It's a pretty high value crop with a quick turnover and a quick demand. So just anybody that's been thinking about getting into agriculture, microgreens are a great way to start making your first bucks so you can build from there.
And you don't need a lot of space for this here. You could do
Exactly.
this. You could do this in a dorm room or on your countertop in the kitchen. You don't need a ton of light. Obviously, you're trying to kill as much light as possible here.
Yeah, I mean, everybody started somewhere. One day I just sold my first pea shoot and it grew from there, you know.
That's amazing.
And we just started on my counter 2 years ago.
That's awesome. And another thing about microgreens, they are one of the healthiest things you could possibly eat. It's actually got all the aminos, and I've read some things that microgreens are almost perform as like a stem cell and kind of fill the areas that you're missing. So grow some microgreens.
Eat them too, they're very healthy.
Grow them and eat them.
Nature's tasty little vitamin pills.
There you go. Right on. All right, we're still out here in Austin, Texas with Joe, Farmer Joe, Joe's Organics. Joe, you started your farm because you had too much compost, right?
Right, so years and years ago, Austin passed a law that every food business has to have a compost hauler by October of this year, and that's when I started the farm.
There's a compost hauler too.
Dogs on compost. And yeah, so I started my compost hauling business. I was already working at a recycling company, and I decided that I wanted to get into the business of recycling food waste, which I see as a pretty valuable asset, but really only to the right people, which is essentially agricultural people.
And not the large scale. Really, it's more, well, it could be large scale.
Someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started small. It's a real bootstrap operation.
Yeah.
At some point, though, I would love to see just truckload after truckload of compost coming out here and food waste coming out here and becoming fresh food.
Now, so you're taking Austin City's waste.
True.
You're taking it, you're mixing it in with a high carbon, you're sifting it, and then you're growing food with the old food that was going to be trash.
Exactly. So
that makes sense, right?
Austin's food recycler.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And are you the top guy in Austin?
Obviously.
There we go.
No, it would depend on who you ask. I mean, waste hauling is a very corporate industry. Like all our competition is, waste management, big companies with a lot of garbage trucks and a lot of dumpsters and a lot of capital. Whereas we're kind of the little guy,
right,
trying to innovate the market, learning as we go, and trying to produce a higher value product for Austin out of its food waste.
Now, how are you moving this stuff? You got a tractor?
Yes, we have a tractor.
Okay.
Yeah, I flip it with a tractor. We basically dump into our hot pile over here. We call it the hot pot.
Okay.
For about a month, and then every month we pull the majority of that off to one of these other piles to let it start to cure.
Okay.
We flip these piles while they're curing every week or every other week, and they basically cure for another 2 months, and at that point it's essentially like this stuff here.
Okay.
And we just run it through the sifter to get all the garbage out, because there's plenty of garbage anytime you put out a garbage can. It's gonna fill up with garbage.
Educate. What do you think the biggest, your biggest problem with that is? Is it the kind of extra stuff that people are throwing in that you don't want?
It can be an issue for sure, yeah. As the old mentor of mine said, there's no pure waste streams.
Yeah. And then how do you think we fix that? You think it's educating people and kind of maybe bringing them out here and showing them what's going on?
I really do, yeah. And I really think that the next generation, I remember when I was a kid in the 90s in the suburbs of Dallas, they just started recycling aluminum cans where I grew up, and it would fill up with garbage, but the program grew over the decades, and then my generation was born, and I grew up recycling as opposed to my parents who grew up with just the garbage. And I call the generation, my wife's pregnant, and I call my daughter's generation the zero waste generation, because they are going to grow up really sending almost nothing to a landfill.
So maybe we'll call that, instead of like millennials and Generation X, we'll call them like Generation Zero.
Generation Z.
You hear that,
maybe.
kids? Generation Zero.
Tell your parents you're Generation
You're really
Zero.
Generation like 1,000 if you're Generation Zero. Now, so you got this kick-ass sifter here. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, it's not even really mine. A lot of people support what we do, so I have a lot of people that essentially this guy lets me borrow this thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. It's
That's
very nice.
That's great. And that's a runoff electricity here.
Runs off electricity. It's a 60-year-old machine,
Wow.
I think. And
it's just got a little motor here and
Canadian design.
a belt and a motor and
Belt and a motor. It's pretty simple, pretty small scale. It's got some hardware cloth around here.
you got another shovel? Let's fill this thing up.
Sure. Well, here, I'll let you do it. I shovel it now.
All right.
And so, yeah, as you see, it'll...
Oh, did I do something wrong?
No. Sometimes it needs a little push.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Might need a little oil somewhere.
Right on. But that does the trick, yeah?
It does the trick with a good tailwind, yeah. We really take care of it heading downhill.
Gotcha. Hey, man. Well, this is awesome, Joe. You know, I want to thank you. I also want to thank all the people that support Joe here in Austin. I want to thank those restaurants and people that are purchasing that compost. I also want to thank all the people that are supporting Farm Trippin. Come to our page, farmtrippin.com. That's FARMTRIPPIN. Joe, what is your Instagram, Facebook, website?
Joe's Organics, www.joesorganics.com. Facebook at Joe's Organics.
And Instagram is where I found you.
At Joe's Organics.
There we go. Hey guys, have a wonderful evening. We're gonna go have some veggie burgers and fresh grilled okra here, Austin style.
Thanks for coming out, Tony.
Hey, thanks for having me, Joe.
No problem.
Take it easy.